largest military diorama in the United States. The diorama is historically accurate, depicting the 3 days of Gettysburg with over 20,000 hand-painted soldiers, horses, cannons, wagons, and buildings.
You are now facing west on the diorama. You are located here on the Emmitsburg Road. Turning right, you are looking north towards the town of Gettysburg. Turning left, you are looking south towards the fields of Pickett's Charge, and further south to the Round Tops.
Please join us now on a journey back into time. Gettysburg is the result of 2 years of war that has not brought about a decisive conclusion. General Robert E. Lee, the commander of the Army of Northern Virginia, has realized that, although he has won great victories over the Union's Army of the Potomac, logistics are heavily in favor of the North. Lee feels that a decisive victory on Northern soil may force the North to sue for peace. After his successive victories at Fredericksburg in December of 1862 and Chancellorsville in May of 1863, his feelings are close to the truth. Moving his army north from his positions along the Rappahannock River in Virginia in early June, he uses the Blue Ridge Mountains of the Shenandoah Valley as a screen. With bands playing Dixie and Bonnie Blue Flag, he is on the soil of Pennsylvania before the Army of the Potomac is even aware of where he is. By the last day of June, his army is spread out from Chambersburg and northeast to Carlisle and Harrisburg. On that same day, Union cavalry under General John Buford ride into the county seat of Adams County, Pennsylvania, Gettysburg. The town of Gettysburg has a population of 2,200 souls on this last day of June. 2 institutions of higher learning, Pennsylvania College, now called Gettysburg College, and the Lutheran Theological Seminary are located here. Major roads of the region all come together with the town of Gettysburg as their hub. It is a rural community with farming and light industry as its economic mainstay. Nothing would be the same again for Gettysburg after this last day of June of 1863. Robert E. Lee, on this same day, learns 2 things of importance. One, that the Army of the Potomac is now in Maryland and moving up into Pennsylvania. He also learns that they have a new commander. General George Gordon Meade has taken over the Army from General Joseph Hooker 2 days earlier. Meade commands a force of 90,000 plus Federals, and Lee's army is at peak strength of 75,000. Lee reacts quickly, ordering his Army Corps to concentrate towards Cashtown and Gettysburg by July 1st. The stage is set for the great confrontation when General Buford, the Union cavalry commander, camps his troops west and north of town on the night of June 30th. As the sun rises, Buford receives word from his vedettes that the Confederates are advancing down the Cashtown Pike, the present-day Chambersburg Pike, Route 30. By about 8 a.m., the Confederate division of A.P. Hill's 3rd Corps was in front of Buford's dismounted line on McPherson Ridge, and the battle for Gettysburg was on. Buford's dismounted troops held the line for 2 hours against the advancing Confederates. By 10 a.m., Buford, contemplating withdrawal, was relieved to have General John Reynolds, 1st Corps commander, ride up. Reynolds quickly agreed with Buford that the line should be held, telling Buford to hold on a little longer. He rode back to the Emmitsburg Road, south of town, and pushed the troops on. Quickly, across the fields in front of the Lutheran Seminary, comes a division of the 1st Corps. Advancing along with the famed Iron Brigade, John Reynolds is shot from his horse and dies. The Iron Brigade continues into the woods and smacks into a Confederate brigade advancing up from Willoughby Run. This strike by the Iron Brigade is so hard that it forces the Confederates back down over the run, leaving many of the Confederates captured. As the infantry of the North takes up a new battle line on the ridge, Confederates north of the Cashtown Pike drive the Union soldiers in that area from the field, taking possession of an unfinished railroad cut running parallel with the pike into town. These Confederates fire into the right flank of the remaining Union line south of the pike, causing 3 Union regiments to take matters into their own hands. Shifting the line from its position facing west, they turned right and all charged north across the pike at their tormentors. Again, the charge was quick, and again the Confederates were taken off guard. They were forced down into the cut, and they were ordered to surrender rather than be shot like fish in a barrel. By charging up and taking the higher ground at the edge of the cut, the Union forced the Confederates to give up. This was one of the last good moments for the North on that day. From here on in, it was almost all downhill for the Union Army. With the increase in strength of the final two divisions of the First Corps arriving, the Union line then extended north from the Hagerstown Road in a slight easterly direction across the Cashtown Pike and to the Mummersburg Road in front of Oak Hill. As more Union forces arrived, also did the Confederates bring up more troops. As noon approached, so did a division of Hill's 3rd Confederate Corps, along with more Confederate artillery. Between 12:30 and 1 p.m., 2 more corps were on the field, one from each army. Rhodes' division of Ewell's 2nd Confederate Corps and Oliver Howitt's 11th Union Army Corps. As Howard was deploying 2 divisions north of town and leaving 1 division on Cemetery Hill, Rhodes was taking possession of the high ground known as Oak Hill. Thus denied the high ground of Oak Hill, Howard's 2 divisions were deployed facing north and northwest in the open fields north of town and close to Pennsylvania College. A gap quickly developed between Howard's left and the First Corps' right. The extreme right of the First Corps was held by a Union brigade fronting both west and north over the Mummersburg Road. Against this position, the Confederates hurled their brigades. 1 brigade of Confederate soldiers marching over Forney's Fields, south of the Mummersburg Road, was striking for the extreme right of the First Corps line. Unbeknownst to the Confederates, Union soldiers were hidden from view behind a stone wall, and when the Confederates came within range, they rose up and poured a deadly fire into the Confederate brigade. So quick was this fire that the dead and wounded looked like they had all laid down in line. The Confederate brigade lost over 800 casualties and was driven back over the Mummersburg Road to Oak Hill. Rhodes sent in another brigade, but it too was checked. By 3 p.m., the numerical strength of the Confederates was about to seal the fate of the 2 Union Corps on the field. A Confederate division of Ewell's 2nd Corps was now coming on the field, and in a great example of being in the right place at the right time, found itself on the extreme right flank of the 11th Union Corps line. The attack came, and the Union line went rolling up from the right front and right rear. The Confederates forced the Union line to fall back and begin to break. Almost simultaneously, the First Corps line began to fold. Union troops backing up to the railroad cut on Seminary Ridge, and the remaining First Corps troops being pushed back on the left flank forced the whole corps back to Seminary Ridge for a brief stand, and then a general retreat and rout of elements of the Union line began. The Union troops retreated through the town of Gettysburg, many being captured as they got lost in the streets and alleys of the town. Somehow, the remnants of both Union Corps, 1st and 11th, made it back to Cemetery Hill, and there they rallied to make a stand. The Confederates had won a great victory on the first day, a victory on a field that neither General Lee nor Meade wanted to fight on, but nevertheless one that the South was able to take the greatest advantage of. With the decision by General Ewell to use his own discretion and not attack Cemetery Hill as Lee had wanted, the fighting on July 1st was over. As night fell on July 1st, the lights of the town, campfires surrounding the town, sprang into life. And with those sparks of light, the concerns of the commanders turned to the dispositions of the Army's units and their deployment for July 2nd's possible renewal of the battle. The Confederate Army took up positions along and in front of Seminary Ridge, as well as securing the town to an area just short of the base of Cemetery Hill. Ewell's 2nd Corps also occupied areas north of Culp's Hill, extending to Benner's Hill. With Johnson's division of Ewell's Corps moving into the Gettysburg lines, all of Ewell's Corps and all of Hill's Corps were now at Gettysburg. The two divisions of Longstreet's Corps had moved up and were in marching distance of the town. Only Pickett's 5,000-man division was still in the Chambersburg area. As night turned to day, the Army of the Potomac was concentrating on moving up from Maryland. The 12th Corps under Slocum was on Culp's Hill. Remnants of the 1st and 11th extended from Culp's to Cemetery Hill. The 2nd Corps under Hancock reached the field and took a position on Cemetery Ridge running south from the Bryan Farm. The 3rd Corps was assigned to the low area near the White Farm and north of the Little Round Top. Close by to support the 3rd were the lead elements of the 5th Corps under Sykes. The largest corps, John Sedgwick's 6th Corps, was on the march from Manchester, Maryland, 35 miles away. As the Union forces took up position, they formed the now famous Fishhook defense line at Gettysburg. The right flank anchored on Culp's Hill, the point of the hook. The semicircle of the hook bending around Cemetery Hill. The shank moving south along Cemetery Ridge, and finally the eye of the hook, Little Round Top. Again, please keep this Fishhook defense line in your thoughts as the 2nd and 3rd day's battle takes place. As morning turned to afternoon on July 2nd, one of Meade's Corps commanders was agitated by the position his 3rd Corps was placed in. Rather than the low area north of Little Round Top, he preferred the higher ground adjacent to the Emmitsburg Road. Without orders or even the knowledge of General Meade, Dan Sickles moved his whole corps out in a westerly and southwesterly direction for the higher ground. They came on as if on parade, flags flying, to the amazement, disbelief, and complete dismay of the rest of the army. When they were finally placed in line, they formed what is now called Sickles' Salient. Humphrey's division spread a thin line south from the Cadore Farm area to the Peach Orchard along the Emmitsburg Road. Here, Birney's division took over, placing brigades from the Peach Orchard running southeast to Devil's Den. This overextended line left the whole Union Fishhook in great danger. Not only was it thin, but Sickles had placed no troops on Little Round Top, the key to the southern portion of the line. Upon Meade's arrival at the center of Sickles' line and seeing his displeasure, Sickles offered to withdraw. Meade recognized that the heavy skirmishing and artillery fire was the prelude to an all-out attack. He ordered Sickles to hold, and he would send in the whole 5th Corps and parts of the 2nd to assist. He would hold the newly arrived elements of the 6th Corps in reserve to assist the right of his line. At 4 p.m., Confederate General James Longstreet launched his attack in echelon. Brigades of Hood's and McLaws divisions moving in one at a time from their right to their left. The idea was to roll up the Union left flank and drive it north parallel with the Emmitsburg Road against the Union line on North Cemetery Ridge and Hill. As the Confederates struck, the hills known as Big Round Top and Little Round Top began to receive the attention they deserved. Big Round Top, covered in trees, was ruled out because of the lack of opportunity to use artillery or infantry in the heavy woods. But the open western slope of Little Round Top invited military occupation. As the Confederate attack pushed into Devil's Den, the only Union presence on that hill was a detachment of Signal Corps soldiers and one general, Governor Kimball Warren of the Union Engineers. In this case, just enough